The question of whether Vikings, predating Christopher Columbus, reached North America has captivated historians, archaeologists, and map enthusiasts for decades, largely centered around a single, controversial artifact, the Vinland Map. This map, officially titled Carta Marina but popularly known as the Vinland Map, purportedly depicts a region of North America, labeled Vinland, alongside other areas of Europe and the North Atlantic, suggesting Norse exploration centuries before Columbus' voyages. The story begins in 1965 when Yale University librarian Robert Park Woolley stumbled upon the map while cataloging a collection of medieval maps and globes acquired from a Swedish antiquarian book dealer, Martin Waldseemüller. Woolley immediately recognized its potential significance, believing it could be a previously unknown contemporary representation of Norse explorations during the Viking Age, a period roughly spanning from the late 8th to the mid-11th centuries. The map's provenance, its historical chain of ownership, was initially murky, but it was later traced back to a Jesuit missionary in Germany, who purportedly acquired it in the 20th century. The map itself is drawn on a single sheet of parchment, measures approximately 14-20 inches, and is meticulously hand-drawn, depicting a fragmented view of Europe, Greenland, and a landmass assumed to be North America, situated west of Greenland. The intriguing portion of the map, of course, is its depiction of a landmass labeled Vinland, a term derived from the Norse sagas, particularly the saga of Eric the Red and the saga of the Greenlanders, which recount the voyages of Leif Erikson and other Norse explorers to a land west of Greenland. The sagas describe Vinland as a land rich in timber, grapes, although their existence in North America is debated, and salmon, a stark contrast to the barren landscapes of Greenland. Initially, the Vinland Map was met with considerable excitement and largely accepted as genuine by many historians and archaeologists, lending credence to the possibility of pre-Columbian Norse contact with North America. However, skepticism gradually arose, and a series of investigations, particularly involving scientific analysis of the map's materials and ink, began to cast serious doubts on its authenticity. Using carbon-14 dating and isotopic analysis, they concluded that the ink used to draw the map contained a significant amount of titanium dioxide, a pigment not widely used in Europe until the late 19th century, suggesting the map was a modern forgery. The presence of titanium dioxide, a commonly used pigment in modern printing inks, was a critical anomaly, as it was virtually absent from medieval inks and paints. This finding, published in the prestigious journal Nature, generated a firestorm of controversy and significantly weakened the case for the Vinland Map's authenticity. However, proponents of the map's authenticity vigorously contested Brooker's findings, arguing that the titanium dioxide could have been introduced as a contaminant during the map's handling and storage over the centuries. They proposed that the pigment could have leached from modern book covers or packaging materials that came into contact with the map. Further scientific investigations attempted to address these counter-arguments, including sophisticated microscopic analysis of the ink and parchment. In 2002, a team led by Patrick M. Thomas at the British Museum used Raman spectroscopy, a non-destructive technique that analyzes the molecular composition of materials, to examine the pigments in the ink. Their findings provided further evidence against the map's medieval origins, indicating the presence of iron oxide and barium sulfate, pigments commonly used in 20th century printing inks, alongside the problematic titanium dioxide. The cumulative weight of the scientific evidence, especially the presence of multiple modern pigments in the ink, has led most scholars to conclude that the Vinland Map is a 20th century forgery. However, the debate is not entirely closed, and a small number of researchers continue to argue for the map's authenticity. proposing alternative explanations for the presence of modern pigments. One such theory suggests that the map was deliberately created as a hoax, perhaps by a skilled forger trying to capitalize on the growing interest in Norse exploration. Another possibility is that the map was a well-intentioned but misguided attempt to visually represent the Norse sagas, created by a modern scholar or artist with a limited understanding of medieval cartography. Regardless of the circumstances surrounding its creation, the Vinland Map remains a fascinating and controversial artifact, raising fundamental questions about the nature of historical evidence and the challenges of authenticating ancient documents. The story of the Vinland Map is also a cautionary tale about the dangers of accepting historical claims without rigorous scientific scrutiny and the importance of considering all available evidence. The Norse sagas, however, continue to provide compelling evidence for Viking voyages to North America, even without the Vinland Map. Archaeological evidence, such as the discovery of Norse artifacts at Lonsdale Meadows in Newfoundland, Canada, further supports the Norse presence in North America around 1000 AD. Lonsdale Meadows is the only confirmed Viking site in North America, providing undeniable proof of Norse exploration and settlement in the region. The site contains remnants of turf houses, workshops, and other structures, providing a glimpse into the lives of the Vikings who briefly inhabited this remote outpost. While the Vinland Map may not be the definitive proof of pre-Columbian Norse contact that many hoped for, the archaeological evidence from Lonsdale Meadows firmly establishes the Vikings as the first Europeans to reach North America. The ongoing research and debate surrounding the Vinland Map serve as a reminder that history is a dynamic and ever-evolving process, subject to reinterpretation and revision as new evidence emerges. The pursuit of understanding our past requires a critical and open mind, a willingness to challenge assumptions, and a commitment to rigorous scientific inquiry. The legacy of the Vinland Map endures, not as a definitive proof of Norse exploration, but as a compelling case study in the complexities of historical authentication and the enduring allure of the unknown.